Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Future Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Juliette Lamar, and joining us today is Darryll DiPietro. He joined us before, so a couple of you might recognize him. He is the president and CEO at Coincierge Club. Welcome back, Darryll.
Hey, thanks for having me back on the show.
Absolutely. We love to get updates and keep up with our guests and keep that community alive and fresh.
Awesome. I'm glad to be here.
All right. So, Darryll, in case some people didn't catch the first interview, let's go ahead and give them a brief overview of what Coincierge Club is all about.
Absolutely. So Coincierge Club is the first service-backed token, I believe, to hit the industry. And what that means is it's not a utility. It's not a security. What it is it's actually a token that's backed by a service that you get if you're a token holder. On top of that, we built a mobile private key wallet that holds over 19,000 different cryptocurrencies on it, and a point of sale that allows users to buy goods and services with all 19,000 cryptocurrencies on there, including the coin that we developed. But it also includes Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, Zcash. So there's a lot of different alternatives on the platform as well. But yeah, that's basically what we're working on right now.
Very cool. So, what really separates you guys from other people in this space trying to do a similar thing?
So we looked at it from a bigger perspective. A lot of when we started developing and getting into the space, everybody was talking about Ethereum, and Ethereum was the big token and the big ICO generator, and everybody was developing these dApps. But the speed wasn't there, the security wasn't there, and so we looked further on to who was building faster, better, stronger platforms. And we found out about the Waves platform very early on, and started developing on it. And realistically, it was easy to build a token on there. I think that's one of the biggest unique selling propositions of that platform. But for us, it was our API documentation and the ability to integrate into it and build this wallet. And so since then, we've actually migrated to our own mainnet version of Waves. But to say the least, their development team is great, and it's very easy to get information from them and develop on that platform. So I think that's what really makes us different, is there's not a lot of companies out there that are saying Waves, Waves, Waves. And on top of that, we're not just building a token on there. We actually developed a platform off of them using their API originally, but then coding our own mainnet. So
very cool. And so I guess give us walk us through some use cases and kind of like a typical user experience.
Yeah, so it's super simple. You download our wallet from the Google Play Store. Our Apple is about to release, but for right now, we're just on the Google Play Store. It takes about 3 minutes to sign up. You create a seed. You create private keys. Now, what's really cool about this is if you're already on the Waves platform, if you happen to know about it and have a Waves wallet, then you can just bring your seed information over, and it'll pull all that information as well. So it's interchangeable with Waves already because it's built on their blockchain, but it's a standalone application that allows users to pull up and pay for things. So let's say you go to our vendor partner Goat Sports Bar down here in Las Vegas, and you want to get some of their amazing food and have some of their awesome beers. And when it comes time to pay, you say, hey, I want to pay in cryptocurrency. Well, they open up their point of sale and they dial in exactly what the bill is, and they generate a QR code. Then you open up your wallet, your Coincierge wallet, and you pull up the scanner that's in there and scan that QR code, execute one button, and that transaction is funded. And that's as simple, and it's way cheaper than using Visa or MasterCard. It's way faster than Visa. It's faster than using a traditional Bitcoin or Ethereum wallet, but it still includes all of those tokens in it. So it allows the vendors the opportunity to accept whatever they want. And so that's basically the walkthrough of how it works.
Very cool. That was my first thought when you were explaining it. I said, wow, that's really fast.
Yeah. Yep. At 250,000 transactions per second. It's the fastest blockchain out there right now.
Wow. So I guess, is it just because your team is super smart? Are you holding yourselves to a certain standard? What makes you so quick and efficient?
So first and foremost, that's what our packet server can run through our API, 250 file packets per second. And so that's where we're able to get that versatility. Now, our developer, he's a genius. He works for the US DoD. He's a subcontractor to keep their security on point and to keep their website secure. And he was actually involved in the hackathon that the Air Force had, a little while back on the defense side. And so he's just an exceptionally talented developer. And that's really one of our major components from the early point on, was to have this rock star team. We've always wanted to make sure that we hire the best of the best. And we also wanted to make sure that, we followed regulations that maybe weren't out there yet, to make sure that when they do come out, that we were able to, stand on our own feet and not feel the collapse if, let's say, the SEC all of a sudden comes down with a new regulation on cryptocurrency. Well, we want to make sure that we're ahead of that. And so we try to stay, pretty far ahead with our keeping our regulations in line, and other things like that. And so it starts with development and then legal and then, all the internal systems in play.
Absolutely. So let's back it up and give us a little insight into, how you got started and how did you get bit by the cryptocurrency bug?
So, I got bit by the cryptocurrency bug by getting ripped off in a put money into this, get interest back thing. Yeah, it's horrible. I feel like an idiot. I should have done my research. I didn't. I believed somebody online. I gave my money to them. Luckily, it wasn't a lot. And also, luckily, this person had a chat group of everybody that he had in this thing. And so when it collapsed, I took over the group and was like, well, I feel like we can build an ethical cryptocurrency business that gives information out. And so we just started off by building a Bitcoin faucet. It gives away free Bitcoin, allows users to not have to give any, no credit card, no email, no sign up, no, anything, just your public address, and we'll send cryptocurrency to it. Satoshis, but still, it can add up if you are on there. And then we also did PHPBB forum and interactive community forum. And then we're writing blogs about different products that we were doing and different wallets that we were using. About 3 weeks in, that's when we, discovered this opportunity in Vegas, being from Vegas and watching the overregulation of nightlife. There's a law that was passed out here that allowed blockchain companies to operate outside of those regulations. And so we pushed to build a token for nightlife. And, that's really what got this whole thing going, was our background in the nightclub and casino industry and being able to get into those locations. It's grown into an international payment disruptor. we're way past Vegas, but still here and still very much involved in the community and the events and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much how we got started. And then doing the conferences really evolved our branding. And every time we meet somebody, every time we go to a conference, we're meeting bigger names and more important and impressive people. And it's twofold. The information that we get that allows us to critique and build has allowed us to grow, but then also the validation that we're getting along the way has allowed us to stay diligent, because it's not a get rich quick thing. It's a develop a system that people are going to use for the next 100 years thing. It's kind of what we're doing.
No, absolutely. And in your mind, how necessary and good is disruption for our economy?
I think it's 100% necessary. I think it's so necessary for the underbanked and the advantaged communities. I think that it's huge for people that can't get bank loans. I think it's huge for people that maybe can't get great jobs due to, circumstances or proximity. This allows that banking for the unbanked. This allows third world and emerging countries to have access to investments and equity and shares. And then also the proof of information. That's another huge opportunity there. So
oh, absolutely. And in this space, where do you see Coincierge Club being in the next 3 years?
So the next 3 years we are about to launch into a bunch of different businesses. And so I would like to see us have 50 or so different vendors out there on major scales, major businesses that are accepting our token, accepting other tokens and allowing us to be their payment processing. There's some big names out there that when they do roll out are going to have 100,000 users per account. And so we hope to continue to add to that. It seems like every day we're getting a new vendor that comes to us and says, hey, we want to be involved with you guys. And so we're in the process again of rolling out that first round of vendors on the major scales. Like we've had our vendors in Vegas that have helped us get to where we're at in the beta testing of this. But I'm talking about major corporations with customers built in that right now Michael's dealing with, providing documentation for integration. And so that's, the next 3 years, we want to see that rolled out. We want to be that household name. And we want people to know that on top of us being a payment processor, we're also doing something very unique. We're taking what AMX has made exclusive through their Centurion card or Black Card services, which everybody knows like Jay-Z has and all the, the big names that have, a lot of money. And we're giving it to people that can afford to buy a 6-cent share. And that's where we're at right now is we're offering this opportunity to be able to have the access that these celebrities have to information, to amenities, to logistics, to scheduling, and you don't have to have $1 million credit limit. And so we hope to see that part of the disruption kind of take the eliteness out of that celebrity realm. And no disrespect to any of the, I love Jay-Z, we listen to all his music over here, but that's just where we want to be, is we want to give that opportunity to anybody.
No, I love that. And I think that would also create a lot of positive enforcement for everyday people, because when you close those doors and you lock people out of those elite services, it doesn't make any sense, because just because you maybe don't have that type of credit limit maybe doesn't mean you're not creative in certain different ways, and the way that you can use the information you're provided with is endless.
100%. That's the goal, is to give people access, and I think that it started with how to not get ripped off and how to help people navigate the space, and now it's evolved into, okay, how do we solve some of the bigger problems? How do we remove inconsistency in shipping ports in third world countries where manipulation and corruption is rampant? Well, that's blockchain. That's what blockchain can do. What's the end? I was talking to somebody that's in supply chain, and I go, what's your end? And they go, well, the end is, when it leaves the supply chain. Well, where's that? Well, they didn't have the answer that I was looking for. And what I said to them is, you want the end result to be the point of sale. You want to know when it's not just when it gets to the store, it's when it leaves the store. It's when it becomes a good that's traded for, value. That's when you want that end result. And so now we're talking about integrating into a supply chain company that does vegan products that we met out here in one of the Vegas shows, because of that value proposition of having that extra piece of information and then having the built-in infrastructure already there, because we're the payment service provider for these venues.
Absolutely. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you're bumping up against in your journey here?
Well, early on, and I know I said it, we set off to build on a fast platform. Had we done our initial ICO on Ethereum, we probably would have been a lot more successful. And I think that you've seen that through some of the coins that have done the Ethereum ICO and then migrated over to their own mainnets. I think that's one of the biggest challenges, and that kind of lines up to the underlying biggest challenge, just funding and building this. We built this entire platform for less than $100,000, and we did it in about a year. Yeah. I mean, we really worked hard on this, and it was a lot of sweat equity. My developer, he's amazing. Myself, I work 18 hours for this business every day. We blood, sweat, and tears. My business partner, Chris, he's always working very hard. We talk every single day. We meet almost every single day. And then some of the other people that have really put in, like Jake, Beth, Chris Rice, just the whole team in general. Everybody on the team is doing their hard work. Steven, one of the other founders, is doing all our social media on the original site so that we can focus on Coincierge Club. We've really been able to develop throughout the way with those guys. But, just having our name out there, that's been another big challenge. Every time we meet somebody and we're able to do a demo, they're blown away. But it's that fact that they didn't know about us prior to that demo that kills us, and that has hurt our momentum. It's that, there's a lot of blockers, and we notice through social media sometimes, like you post, if you notice somebody else posts something and it goes all a way around, and then you post something and like 2 people like it, and you're like, well, wait a minute, what are we doing wrong here? Oh, we don't have a affiliate marketing Ponzi scheme associated with us, you know what I mean, or something like that. And it's like, well, that roots back to what we had said originally about not wanting to be involved in all the scammy stuff, and then also being able to stand on our own feet when the regulations come through. And that's one thing we've always been really adamant about, is to not have that in here. That probably hurt us a little bit along the way as well. But here we are, again, a year into developing this, a little over a year into founding the company. And, we developed this on such little cash. And then we go to these conferences and people are like, well, wait a minute, you did that? What can you do if we do this? And so that's the point that we're at right now, is we're at our Series A, and we've got rounds of VCs that we're talking to, and, just trying to push along, keep furthering development as we go.
Very, very cool. And so you're having a token sale now currently?
No, we did the token sale. Yeah, well, so we did what you would call the ICO, or the initial coin offering. They can purchase our tokens now, but they have to go through our app. So you have to download the app, and then because of the way we have our regulations, you have to just acknowledge that, you are making this decision, and there's a jump through page that you have to, sign off on and make sure that you know what you're doing. But yeah, you can buy the tokens through the app, but we don't like to consider it a token sale because of the whole, regulations that are probably impending on cryptocurrency right now. And That's why we have the, extra steps to make sure that we stay protected.
Absolutely. And that's just doing your due diligence. And you clearly learned some very valuable lessons along the way. And you want to make sure you're implementing that knowledge, that newfound knowledge as you move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can't ever be too careful, and especially when it comes to regulations and emerging, markets and technologies. You don't want to skip on something that just because you don't have to right now, you wouldn't want in the future, because it's going to cost you 10 times in the future if you don't do it now.
I think that that's definitely true with the crypto world and in life in general. But for some reason, people have this rub against educating themselves, as if they think it takes too much time. But in the long run, you are saving yourself so much more time and money by just a little bit of research and education.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's just the nature of this industry is how people heard about the get rich quick and how do I, I'm already behind the boat. I'm already behind this. I can't take time to do it the right way. I've got to go fast. And we didn't know all the answers when we started off. That's actually the point of the story, is we started off trying to figure it out, and this is where we got to. And we realized early on that this was an issue in the industry that needed to be solved, was giving people an opportunity to spend these cryptocurrencies. And how do you spend it? The biggest critique I ever heard when I started in crypto was, well, that's cool, you're making all this money, but how do you spend it? And I didn't know about BitPay and all those middle intermediaries, which are great. We wanted to go one step further once we realized that the biggest solution was still, you weren't spending crypto when you use like a BitPay, you're spending fiat through a fiat gateway. And so that's what we set off to really solve that issue.
All right. So in closing, where can people find out more information? What's the best way to follow you? Any social media outlets you have? And any final thoughts for our listeners?
Absolutely. Yeah. So our website is coincierge.club. That's COINCIERGE.CLUB. You can also go on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we are under the same, coincierge.club or coincierge club. And if you want to send an email to me, it's darryll@coincierge.club. We're always looking to hear from you for more information. And just know that we are not going to stop. We are going to continue to develop this and build it on bootstrap budget until we get that right, investor to come along. And we're not going to make compromises or cut corners to do it the fast way. It's about building a platform that people really are going to use and actually have faith in, and not about making a quick buck. And so we just appreciate anybody that wants to follow us. If you want to download the app, it's on Google Play. Our wallet is coming to web and Apple soon. And then, reach out if you have any more questions.
Thank you so much, Darryll, for joining us again. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, and hopefully we'll have you back on again in the future to get some more updates, because you guys are moving fast, and I love seeing that.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to be back on, and we just really enjoy being involved with you guys in whatever capacity it is. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, thank you, Darryll. That is Darryll DiPietro. He is the president and CEO at Coincierge Club. Check them out. Thank you all so much for tuning in today to Future Tech Podcast. I've been your host, Juliette Lamar. We'll catch you guys next time.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.